I have shown you in this course that ChatGPT can write code based on natural language processing. So you just describe what you want in code, and ChatGPT can give you code that is mostly accurate, especially for relatively simple, straightforward boilerplate code where there's lots of examples online. Now, you might be wondering why you should even be learning code. Maybe in 10 years or 5 years, we won't need to code anymore because we just interact with ChatGPT or other AI large language models like ChatGPT to write all the code for us. And indeed, if you look around online, you will find people making these very big claims on, blogs and in YouTube videos and TikTok about how no one needs to learn to code anymore because we have ChatGPT. So um, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, obviously, and no one does. Anyone making big claims about whether you're going to need or not need some skill in the future, they are, it's just clickbait. They're just trying to get your attention for whatever reason. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I can only tell you what is known right now, which is early, the first half of 2023. And at this point in time, you absolutely, definitely still need to learn to code. It is an essential skill for any job or studies in anything quantitative. If it's modeling, large scale data, statistics, computational, biology, engineering, physics, computational finance, you absolutely need to learn how to code. You need to be a proficient coder. What's going to happen in the future? I have no idea. I cannot say. It certainly is possible that in a couple of years, these AI models will be so good that they're better than the best coders, and no one really needs to learn to code. But, it's also possible that we are very, very quickly approaching the ceiling of what these large language models can do in terms of generating accurate code. And maybe, again, I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying it is possible that these systems like ChatGPT will be really good at generating elementary, boilerplate, simple code, but they're not good. They're never good at generating more complex code, up to the level of creating your own operating system. Again, I have no idea. But, we can think about some arguments for and against learning how to code at the beginning of, the dawn of AI. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. So here I'm providing a prompt. Can you provide some arguments for why people should study coding when systems like ChatGPT can write code based on natural language prompts? So we get a nice lengthy reply with 8 points from ChatGPT. I'm not going to read all of these to you, but I will scroll through slowly. So if you would like to read these yourself, you can pause the video and read the reply. Of course, you can also enter the same type of question into ChatGPT. I like ChatGPT's answers here. They're all consistent with what I already believe. So, of course, I'm going to think that this is a useful, helpful, informative reply. On the other hand, it's obviously very biased. I was very specifically asking ChatGPT for reasons for learning how to code. So this is not an unbiased response. So therefore, in the interest of being unbiased, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to argue opposite. So here I say, now please provide some counterarguments. That is, why someone wouldn't need to spend time learning to code because they can use ChatGPT instead. So here we got a number of good points. Again, I will scroll through this slowly. If you would like to pause the video and take the time to read ChatGPT's reply. I would like to focus on 2 points that ChatGPT made, which I find to be compelling. One is point number 2, focus on problem solving. And here, the basic idea is coding takes a lot of time, and it's taking time away from doing higher level, more strategic, more creative problem solving. So if you can have an AI system like ChatGPT do the coding for you, that gives you more time and more space for thinking about more valuable assets. And then the next thing I would like to point out, because I also personally believe in this, is point 4, lowering the entry barrier. Imagine someone who is very smart, very creative, very ambitious, very motivated, very hardworking, but they just happen to be not very good programmers. I'm sure you know people who are like this. Maybe this is something that you identify with. Unfortunately, without a program like ChatGPT, someone like that is less competitive for a data related position versus we can imagine someone else who is maybe not so smart, not so creative, not so ambitious, not so hardworking, but for whatever reason, they just happen to be a really fantastic coder. That person is actually more competitive for jobs in data related fields. So, these are like two extremes that I'm highlighting here, but it certainly is the case that having tools like ChatGPT to help you code are lowering the barrier for entry so that not being such a great coder is no longer such a limitation for getting a job in a data related industry. Okay, so yeah, I will let you make your own evaluation. Time will tell. We will know in the future how important it still is to learn coding. Again, all I can say is right now, AI is not replacing coders. It is helping coders code better. And so coding is still an important skill to learn right now.